One thing I learned about writing books and doing videos about black mob violence, black on white crime, and how it's wildly out of proportion is do not mess with the moms. First time I learned that was down in Springfield, Missouri from Sherry Godfrey. Sherry's son was out in front of his house or behind his house around midnight. 25 of the fellas next door, mostly football players from the local college football team, came over and beat the hell out of him, almost killing him. Cops were very disinterested. Reporters were very disinterested. I mean, they didn't even question anybody at the scene, the cops, that is. And it wasn't the only time that happened in that neighborhood with people from that house. A house occupied by a black fraternity. Anyway, Sherry started hounding the cops, hounding the reporters. She followed up leads. She got the investigation started, restarted, wouldn't let them forget about it. Finally, a few weeks ago, Sherry actually filed suit against the fraternity. And she and her son, who has since recovered, was awarded $1.6 million in damages for those injuries. Though we still don't know exactly who did it, and nobody's saying. That's what I was thinking just a few hours ago when I got 2 cases involving moms. This one from Stephanie Clark of Stratford, Connecticut. Stephanie actually sent me an email with this, and she just posted this on her Facebook page about her son beaten up by a large group of black people. She says because he was white. Here it is. My son, a high school student, was assaulted Thursday evening at Hyde Park, Stratford, Connecticut. She's looking for any information about the 3 40-year-old black men that did this. And, she kind of goes into some details. The guys had him on the ground. He was trying to get up. They hit him again and again and again. Nasty business. But I get a feeling this Stephanie Clark is not going to let this go. She's already offered a pretty good sized reward for any information about this assault. Let me see. Next, we head over to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We did a lot of stories last week on the Black Spring Break down at the Gulf Coast. However many stories we do, there's always we miss way more than we get. We missed this one. 4 black guys beat the hell out of a white guy. The white guys were football player. One of the black guys is a football player. The University of Alabama, roll tide, baby. They picked the wrong kid to start a fight with because I think this mom looks kind of pissed too.
Right now, former high school football star from West Orange Stark, who now plays for Alabama, is free on bond.
20-year-old Deontay Thompson and 3 others are accused of taking part in the violent assault of a teen on Crystal Beach. Thompson was booked in the Tuscaloosa County Jail in Alabama on a Texas warrant for felony aggravated assault. His attorney confirms he posted bond and is out of jail tonight. The attorney also says Thompson will travel to Texas this weekend to turn himself in. Morris Joseph and Rufus Joseph, 2 members of last season's West Orange Stark State Championship football team, are also suspects in the assault. KFDM has learned a 4th suspect, Dale Tedrick Wolford, was released from the Orange County Jail after posting $20,000 bond. Doctors say 18-year-old Noah Freyu had several broken bones in his face, including his eye sockets and his nose. His mother says he did not take part in the March 18th fight during spring break at Crystal Beach.
Tonight, KFDM's Simone Braithwaite spoke with the teen's mother. She says the family is praying her son fully recovers.
All of this is shattered. All of this as well. His nose was broken. This kind of cracked down into here.
Kimberly Smalley says her son, 18-year-old Noah Freyu, was severely beaten March 18th during spring break at Crystal Beach.
It was horrible. He truly suffered. He truly did.
Smalley says Galveston County Sheriff's deputies and witnesses told her Freyu was getting a female friend away from a fight when others ended up attacking him. Noah's mom says he suffered a concussion and broken bones in his face.
You thought it couldn't get worse? It did.
She says the family is holding on.
Stressful would be an understatement, and honestly, we're just praying to get through each day.
Kimberly says her family and the families of those accused of the attack are suffering.
We didn't ask for this to happen. Their family didn't ask for this to happen. Unfortunately, with this happening, it hurt a lot of people, and we're just trying to get through each moment of each day.
Despite the pain, her son is recovering.
Swelling is going down, and just very, it'll be a long process, but we are very pleased that he looks like himself.
In Orange, Simone Braithwaite, KFDM 6 News.
Meantime, the father of Deontay Thompson speaking out on Twitter, Vester Thompson said, quote, "I understand that journalists have a job to do. Just wait until you hear the truth. Trust me, the key word in the case is Alabama." He wrote Alabama all in caps. He added, "I won't get into the who, what, when, where, and why. I just hope when people hear the truth, they'll run with it with just as much passion."
Now, this next story is kind of weird. It's down in Springfield, Ohio. And here, this video is about a street fight caught on camera. A whole bunch of black people attacked these two kids. This was not a street fight. This was not, what do they call it? A street fight. Here it says 6 juveniles involved in a street fight. I mean, that's just a ridiculous way of describing what you're looking at right now. This is a large group of black people beating, robbing, and attacking these 2 white kids. That's what happened here. I mean, if we're just going to start renaming and thinking about all these black on white crimes, as horrific as they are, if we're just going to start renaming them, I mean, why don't we start it right now? Okay, here's one coming. Why don't we start right here in the Poconos? This happened 2 years ago, but the trial just ended just a day or two ago. Why don't we call this a prom date?
Nick and Candace, it's a crime nobody will ever forget in the Poconos. The defendant was just 15 when he left the victim for dead. She survived, and today he learned he must spend decades in prison. Led into Wayne County Court, 17-year-old Isaiah Williams said nothing as he was about to find out his sentence, 25 to 50 years in state prison. The crime, using a steak knife to stab an 83-year-old woman in the neck, back, and chest, then sexually assaulting her and stealing her credit card.
It's scary to live in a society where somebody like that exists.
The Coolbaugh Township teen admitted knocking on the victim's door in Dreyer Township and letting himself in to commit the horrific crimes in September 2015. The victim's nephew, who declined to appear on camera, confronted Williams in the courtroom about the irreparable harm caused to his aunt.
He said, "You took somebody who handled everything for herself to somebody who needs everyone for everything."
It's something this man considers an additional crime.
I think a person ought to be able to feel safe in their home, but today it's not like it was.
The judge handed Williams the maximum penalty under sentencing guidelines, citing the teen's long criminal history.
This is somebody who had a long history of being unable to follow the law, being aggressive, and having infractions and problems. So this is somebody that we don't see every day, but when we do see him, it certainly wakes us up.
Despite the crime, Williams is not considered a sexually violent predator. In part, that's because he's younger than 18 and cannot be considered to have what's called a paraphilic disorder, meaning that he gets gratification from sexual crimes.
How about this?
At New York's Penn Station.
He had to tase a black guy at Penn Station. Everybody thought it was a gunshot. Everybody ran out. Why don't we call this the Easter Parade?
They started running.
And here we have a dude shouting on the subway. Here's some more argy-bargy from the subway. The guy shouted sexual obscenities. And then he started attacking people on the subway. I don't know. What should we call that? Let's call that, I don't know. What do you want to call it? Cunningham man? I don't know.
Fight broke out near a carnival at 119th and Marshfield. WGN's Gaynor Hall is live at the scene. Gaynor.
Hi, Taman, and we just arrived at this scene. Chicago police calling this a large disturbance happened at an outdoor carnival. You can't really see it from this perspective, but it's on the other side of the Marshfield Plaza, which is a strip mall right near 119th Street off of I-57. Now, we did hear reports that there may have been shots fired, but police could not confirm that. Witnesses here also telling us that they did not hear gunshots, but at last check, Chicago police say they have no reports of any injuries and no reports at this point of any arrests. Now, it sounds like there was a large fight that broke out at this carnival and a huge police response to try to get things under control. As you can imagine, a lot of people were out tonight trying to enjoy the summer-like weather. Again, police not reporting so far any injuries or any arrests, but definitely an active scene at this carnival tonight. We should also mention that I-57, the southbound exit ramp to 119th Street, is shut down due to all of the police activity in this area.
Breaking overnight, 9 people are in the hospital this morning after gunfire breaks out near a nightclub. Tyler Carter is live on scene with us this morning. And Tyler, you're talking with investigators. What have you learned?
That's right, Hattie. As you can see behind me, police are still blocking off this entire area. This is J&R Party Hall. They believe this is exactly where the shooting happened in this home here in the corner. It's part of their crime scene here on Cleveland Avenue. Investigators say this morning, just before 3:30, 9 people were shot in North Columbus here. According to police, 8 people were transported to area hospitals in stable condition and 1 other was transported in critical condition. Detectives say some were taken to the hospital by medics, others transported themselves. I'm told those 9 people were inside the party hall during the time of the shooting. Police continue to guard the entrance of the party hall while other officers search the area around the hall and in the back alley for evidence. Police do not have any suspect information at this time and have not said what led up to the shooting.
Okay, why don't you guys, I'll let you guys figure this one out, what to call it. But here's a whole bunch, this is over in London, a whole bunch of black guys chasing 2 white guys. They catch them, they beat the hell out of them when they're on the ground knocked out. They rob them, they laugh at them, they take selfies with the knocked out, injured white guys, all in beautiful London. The very famous saying about London is, if you are tired of London, you are tired of life. There's a lot of people getting tired of London now because London is a different city than it used to be. How about this in Peoria, Illinois? Peoria used to be the test market capital of America. That's because it was a perfect representation of middle America, middle American values. They would take Broadway shows there. Richard Nixon famously used to ask, will this play in Peoria? All these new products would get tested there, see if anybody liked it or don't like it. Well, that was before Peoria became a chocolate city. Done a lot of stories about Peoria. The one I remember right off the bat is did a July 4 story where they set a dumpster on fire. When the firemen got there, they were in kind of a cul-de-sac. They were almost trapped in a way, but it was right next to this huge public housing project, and people in the project, it kind of went up a few stories. They were throwing rocks and bottles and fireworks at the firemen. Anyway, so this is Peoria. This black guy killed a little old Asian woman who had a clothing store. And when I think of clothing store, what I think of is a woman that does alterations, maybe takes in a little dry cleaning, kind of ekes out a living. So why don't we call this, I don't know, he went in to borrow a suit. And this next story is a winner. A dad takes his daughter into school to fight a girl, and he's the one taking the videos on the school property. I guess we could call this a PTA meeting. And I'm starting to see I've seen a couple of these, like in the last week or so. Some self-appointed black dude goes into a place where a black person supposedly has been wronged, and he starts threatening the owner because, it's not 1920, or it's not 1820, it's not 1720, it's not 1620, it's not the year 20 BC, and you're not allowed to talk to black people with anything but the utmost respect, because, without black people, there would be no subway. Why don't we call this one a Subway restaurant review?
Are you not more acceptable for Bronxville? Are you big? No, I want to know, are you big bad more acceptable? Because they say you harass people that come in here, and I'm just letting you know. Everybody, if it's a lie, you need to make sure you get straight, because I don't like what I've been hearing. People don't have to take none of the stuff from nobody. I'm hearing this from an employer, and this is the best person that worked for Subway ever. You got Miss Niecy and you got Miss Tasha. Without them, Subway would go the fuck down here.
It was George Orwell who said, control the word, control the thought. And man, that's what we see so much. We all get, it's easy for us, even if we know about it, we get kind of tripped up, jumbled up in the language. We're calling them random, we call them teens, we call them scuffles, really disguising what's going on, right? Disguising what's going on, and we're disguising who's doing it. And that's what we document on this channel over and over and over and over. And we also document the denial and deceit and delusion from reporters and public officials. It's not that complicated, not even that hard. But I think we've got a lot of people's attention. I mean, the trolls have been just going crazy. They're hammering YouTube. They got my last YouTube channel shut down. That they hammered Patreon. They got my Patreon page shut down. And thank you guys for responding so enthusiastic. The people who know about that and more figuring out what happened to me on Patreon, they're just saying, okay, it doesn't matter to us. We'll give to Patreon, we'll give to PayPal, doesn't matter. So if the trolls think they're going to stop us from documenting this enormous amount of black on white crime, black mob violence, black criminality, that reporters and public officials are so eager, so invested to just not talk about, not connect the dots. But yet when we get a Black Lives Matter person out there making stuff up, they just cannot represent it as facts quickly enough. And we're not going to stop that. We're going to keep going. We're going to double down. We're going to do more. I'm going to do more writing. I'm going to crank my books up again. We're going to do more videos. Because every time, something like this happens, it kind of convinces me the problem is way, way bigger than what we thought. Now we've got a few moms involved in the struggle. That will be a big help. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention one other thing to you guys. I can't tell you who this is, but it's somebody we've done a story about in the last 5 years. It involved a child on a school bus getting the hell kicked out of him on the school bus. The people at the school knew the black people who beat this white child, that were bad actors. The kids have been bothering the kid in school and on the bus for a period of time. He just sued. That just got resolved as well. They're not releasing the amount of money that was involved in the lawsuit. My guess it's a public figure. Maybe I'll go down there and check it out sometime. But he won a quote-unquote substantial settlement from the school because the school allowed that to happen. and drag their feet afterwards in the investigation in a totally irresponsible way, in a way we see happen all the time. Just because lots and lots of school officials are down with the cause and they just don't want to make the black kids angry.